Very good morning, students. Today I am going to teach you the new poem. That is the second poem from the textbook. That is the Africa, written by David Diop. It's very interesting. The poem, the respect, the patriotism of the nation, the one who wants to give his life and the suffering which he has gone through to give independence to this Africa. That is what the poem is speaking about. And let us see, before going to the poem, let us analyze a little bit about the poet who is, so that we know the idea of the poet, so that we know the poem. David Mandense Diop was born in 1927 and died in 1960. He was a revolutionary African poet. Okay. Among the youth indulging the fire for the nation, that is called the revolutionary. He was born in France, but with parents of a West African descent. Even he was born in France, but his original parents are from the West Africa, Africans there. It means they are black people. His poem highlights problems of Africa brought about colonialism. What is that colonialism? In the France, these are the white peoples, okay, but they had a separate colony for the black people. Okay, this white people, black people could not enter into the colony of the white also. Black people could not enter in the colony of the white. That was the problem. We have this here race system, caste system, not a race system. We have a caste system. But here colonialism problem. Okay, colony problem. Okay. That colony people cannot come to this colony. This colony people that cannot go to that colony, and not even they to get married to each other according to that ideas. And this was the problem. And this was started with what? Black and white actually, because the Africans are black and the French people they are the white. And this was the problem. And gave a message to Francis Africans to bring about change and freedom. He insists them. Brought the colonialism, put them in their idea and fighting for to bring the change and freedom of Africa. He was known for his involvement, sorry that is not a P, that is a involvement in the negative movement of France. What is that? The involvement of a negative movement. This is the negative idea. This is the white and black. That is what was problem of this. And this was beginning. Negative idea started by the black writers from the Africans origin and black artists, and they protesting against French colonialism. Corps de Pilon was published. This was the book about the struggle of Africa. One more book was written by David Diop. Was published in 1956, just before dying, before the 4 years before his death. And Diop died at the age of 33 in the plane crash. His fate come to an end by the plane crash. They have not mentioned where he was traveling, but when he was traveling from Africa to the other place, so that plane crash took his life, and he ended his life in this world. Okay. Now let us go to the summary of the poem. Okay. The poem begins like this: Africa, my Africa. Africa for proud warriors in ancestral savannas. Africa of whom my grandmother sings on the banks of distant river. The poem starts by Diop reminiscing about Africa, recalling all the difficulties of Africa, reminiscing. A land has not seen, but only heard about from his grandmother songs. It means very clear, this author, he has not seen that land at all, the land of Africa, but he has seen through his grandmother's songs. He heard about Africa, he says here. His choice of words like distant symbolize how far he is from his country. This word itself signifies how far he is from his country. Now he is not in Africa. Now he is in France. Remember that. But the parents were from West Africa. Okay. A feeling based on his life as he lived in France throughout childhood and only visited Africa in the 1950s. That's it. When he was just about to publish his book, he goes to Africa after many years of his birth. Despite this, he paints a vivid scene of Africa and the proud warriors who walk on his ancestral savannas. Ancestors, ವಂಶಾಭಿವರ್ದಿಂದ ತಲೆತಲಾಂತರದಿಂದ ಬಂದ a savanna, that is the track of warrior, that is called the savanna. You can sense how much he misses his homeland by his stress on the word Africa, and he continues to call it my Africa to emphasize it is his land and his feeling to patriotism towards it, the respect, patriotism, there is a respect in his heart of this land. They also we say, this is my land, Bharata, this is my land, we say. It means we have this respect to the land of our nation. That is what the poet is speaking about. He has the respect in his heart for his land of Africa. I have, second now continues the poem paragraph like this. Okay. I have never known you, but your blood flows in my veins. Your beautiful black blood that irrigates the field, the blood of your sweat, the sweat of your work, the work of your slavery. And these are the further paragraphs. Let us see what it means. He continues to say that he never known Africa, but despite the distance, in spite of his being far, distance, being far, cannot deny how much it is part of him, the beautiful black blood which flows in his veins. See, even he is in French now, he is born in French, but in his blood, that black blood is there. They are black people, they got, actually blood is not a black at all, blood is red itself, red black mix blood, the blood is blood for everybody is the same. White people blood also same, black people blood is the same, brown people, we are Indians are called as a brown people, okay, and everybody's blood is the same, it is the same color, there is no change, but the saying is like this, that black blood running in my vein, ನನ್ನ ನರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ರಕ್ತ ಹರಿತಾ ಇದೆ, okay, he says like this. Describes his African descent and shows how much Africa is a part of him and his love for it and its people, not only for the love for his own but also the people of Africa. Okay, the next verses are angry, next verses are very in angry mode, and he says here, okay, let's see. And a custody, as the story stresses that it is the blood and sweat of his people which is irrigates the field for a benefit of the people. Even this black blood irrigates, the farmers, irrigation, drop of a slow fall of a water is called as a irrigation, irrigated land, continuously water is given, 24/7 the water is given. Actually what happens when we want to put the water for the plants, just we start the tap and just we give in the half an hour we finish watering the plant, but there is the irrigation, that is a drip of water falling down continuously 24/7, that is called the irrigation. All the time that land should be that wet. So okay, he says now this black blood irrigates the field of the Africa, he says here. Okay, for the benefit of the other people. By this he is pointing the figure at the colonialism who exploited black people and used them as a slave to profit from their hard labor, and what they have done in France. Okay, and they have used them as slaves, alugal. And you know, in those days, in the older days, slaves means it was quite difficult. They had no other word to say in the public. The owners only had the right to do whatever. If you have seen some movies of the older days, it's better. Sometimes you have to see the English movie. There is this enlightens the mind. How they are slaverized. They are given a lot of difficulties. In the olden days, if you go to the history of Hebrew, you see that they used to make, the slaves used to make the bricks. To make a bricks, okay, and they had a count of a day, so much you have to make. If they have to make 100 bricks, means 100 bricks they have to cover in the whole day. And if they don't cover, their son is to brought in, instead of the bricks, they used to give them, put them there, and that was whipping, beating them right and left. Now it is being explained here. Okay, then he says, Africa, tell my Africa. Then continues like this: Africa, tell my Africa, it is your back that is unbent. This back that never breaks under the weight of humiliation. Africa, tell my Africa, in this back that is bent, this back that breaks under the weight of humiliation, this back trembling with red scars. And you see, this back trembling with red scars and saying not to be the whip under the midday sun. Saying yes is the whip under the midday sun, because in the hot sun they were working, and the whip is a long thread. It was like a mugdana of your cows. No, they have done the big one and they used to hit them with that. Okay. In this verse, the urges the black people to stand up to the pain and the humiliation that they are suffering in their own land. He reminds them of the strength and pride he urges them, and to say no to the whip of the colonialist, which makes them work under the hot midday sun and leaves scars on their body. Despite this suffering, he urges them to be strong and remain unbent and not let this break them despite the weight of their suffering. He is encouraging them not to give up. Even there is a difficulty, he says, don't give up. Let us fight for it. He says. But the grave answered me. Further he says, but a grave voice answered me, impetuous child, that a tree, young and strong, that tree over there, splendidly alone amidst white and faded flowers. Faded flowers. Faded flowers. F-A-D-E-D. Faded flowers. What is mean? This lines. That is your Africa. Spring up. In the time of springing, up patiently, obstinately, a bitter taste of liberty. You stand. Even your experience is bitter, but there is a sweetness that is called liberty, freedom. Okay. At least for this, you undergo this suffering. He says. In this verse, the wise voice of Africa, children for him thinking, impatiently, thoughts, and implies to us that a continent lies in the wait for something to happen. It urges the African to be patient and not hurry up like children, as there is a change in the horizon. The tree, young and strong, represent the young people, the young, and the statements that they said, no, young and strong. This was speaking about the youngster of the Africans, okay, who are patiently but obstinately waiting until they get the liberty. Okay, wait patiently till we get the freedom, he says. They want, at the moment the tree is alone, meaning the African struggle is a lovely battle, but they will achieve the freedom and liberty they want, no matter how bitter the taste of getting in. I don't know how much the bitter it is, how much the suffering it is, how much the difficult it is to undergo, but wait till you get the liberty, he says here. It is among the white and the faded flowers, by which he means the colonialist who will fade in time. These white people will diminish, they will end their rule. Don't worry, when we are strong, and automatically they saw Hanabala Janabala. When there is a Janabala, Hanabala doesn't work. Okay, whatever that is. So they say, which means the colonialist who will fade in time, while the youthful Africans grow in strength and wait for their movement for freedom. David Diouf, Africa, is a dialogue between a young poet on the measure or the grave mind. It is a patriotic poem that visualizes the battle taste of a liberty for Africa. Africa had been a nation of proud warriors. The poet has heard his grandmother sing of the warriors in ancestral savannas, plains, in hot countries, covered in grass and have few trees. But the poet has never known the nation. The poet asserts, makes sure, proudly, that the African blood flows in his veins. The Africa had worked in distant lands as slaves. Their beautiful black blood irrigates the field. The blood of their sweat and sweat of their work, the work of their slavery, and the slavery of their children has enriched the distant land. Therefore, the poet to know what the real Africa is. The African bent back breaks under the weight of humiliation. The lashes received by their back made them tremble with the red scars. They also continue to work under the midday sun for a fear of punishment. The poet concern query is answered by the grave voice and strong tree that the voice is metaphorical here. Metaphorical relation between the nation and oneself. Okay, non-living being and the living being, that are metaphorical. Okay, for the relation between the nation and the person here, that is speaking about. The poet quarry urges, answered by the grave voice, the distressed, ಕಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಕೂಗು ಬೇರೆ. Okay, just call is different, but when you are in the difficulty, your cry is a different cry that chokes you inside, not even allows you to cry properly. That is called a grave voice. Okay, is as a metaphorical, the young and the strong tree that grows patiently, obstinately, will gradually acquire the bitter taste of liberty. But these young people will have this bitter taste of this freedom. The enigmatic and the puzzling answer of the grave voice is optimistic, on the positive side. It struggles supreme sacrifice on the part of the youth by addressing the questions as impatious son. ತಾಳ್ಮೆಯಿಂದ ಇರುವ ಆ ಮಗುವ ಥರ, ಮಗನ ಥರ, that is called impatious son. Okay, very active, patient, active, but not simplicity. The grave voice prophetically persuades him to have a revolutionary patience to achieve liberty. The sophisticated interrogator of the poem is imperiled, silenced by the grave voice, the questioning of the still affirmation. This is how the summary of the lesson. In the next video, we'll see you the question answers, glossaries, all the grammar part. See you soon.